So, finally, we begin the actual prayer. Till now was the introduction to prayer. And everyone does that part on your own. Now begins the chazan. This is where the chazan begins. Hodu, Hashem, the Kaddish, and then Hodu Hashem is the beginning of davening. Now, we start the davening with Hodu. Just like you start the very first thing when you wake up in the morning, Moida. First thing you say is thank you, gratitude. Moida, thank you Hashem. Hodu, thank you Hashem. Why is this the beginning of davening? Because we find something very interesting. When it comes to davening, the rabbis say you're not allowed to eat before you daven. It says, when your soul is in your nose, when you just woke up, you're not allowed to eat before. Why is that? You're allowed to eat before you learn Torah. As a matter of fact, you should eat before you learn. Because in order to have the strength, in order to understand, to comprehend, you have to eat. That's what gives you strength. As the Talmud says, Rabbi Nachman says, the reason I didn't answer your question yesterday is because I didn't eat a piece of steak, a juicy piece of steak before. So I didn't have the strength to understand it and to answer your question. Yet when it comes to davening, the first thing you do, you wake up in the morning, is you have to daven. You're not allowed to eat. Why is that? What does it mean also your neshama is in your nose? What do you mean your neshama is in your nose? So actually, how do you tell if a person is alive? You put a feather under his nose. He's breathing, you put a feather under his nose. If the feather moves, you know he's alive. Because the nose is connected to the brain. The neshama is in the brain, begins in the brain, and from there, it permeates the rest of the body. So the nose is directly connected to the brain. That's why if someone faints, you give him a very strong scent, smell, and he wakes up. It touches the life in the brain. It's like a shock to the system, and it wakes you up. It arouses, awakens. So what he means to say is that at night, when a person goes to sleep, your neshama leaves your body. It's the 60th of death. And your neshama goes on high and to draw energy and to reconnect. Now, when the neshama comes down back into this world, when you wake up into the consciousness, the body has to get used to the neshama. The body, you can't just, doesn't happen in a moment. The body is not a vessel for the neshama. The body is not a vehicle for the neshama. You wake up, you just woke up, so your body is very prominent, your ego is very prominent. And to reach a level where your neshama permeates your body and you reach a level of egolessness, it's a process, it's a procedure. It doesn't happen with the snap of a finger. It's a whole process. That's the process of prayer. The whole process of prayer is that we're trying to reach a level of egolessness, and it's a procedure, it's a whole process. That's why prayer takes so long. And it's divided into 4 different stages, because you can't just jump to a level of egolessness. You wake up, your neshama is only in your nose, your neshama is only in your mind. You didn't yet activate your mind, your brain, your understanding of Hashem, or your heart, your feeling for Hashem. All you have when you start out is Moida ani lefanecha, your simple faith, that pure faith that you have. Moida ani, I thank you Hashem, I'm grateful to Hashem, I know I have a neshama, and that faith in Hashem, lefanecha, that I am before you, and you are my creator, and you returned and restored my soul. So it's an acknowledgement. You didn't even have time yet to think. You didn't even have time to meditate. You didn't even have time to reflect. You just woke up. As soon as you wake up, wake up and you say, Moida ani lefanecha. First thing you say. So Moida is a simple acknowledgement. There's no thought involved. There's no feelings involved. The neshama is just in your nose. So all you can do is Moida, which is like the minimum, the entryway. It's like the boundary between holiness and the opposite of holiness. As it says, whoever doesn't bow, and he says, Moedim, will not be resurrected, has no connection to holiness. Holiness begins, egolessness begins with at least bowing down, at least acknowledging, at least knowing and acknowledging that there is Hashem, there's something greater than myself, who I'm grateful to and I'm thankful to. But that's the first modani. Now, as we begin the davening, also we start with Hodu. Hodu, I admit, I agree, I acknowledge, I'm grateful, I'm thankful. But now, we don't just say Moda ani lefanecha. Now, this verse has many details. Hodu Hashem, acknowledge to Hashem, praise Hashem, kiru v'shmoi, proclaim His name, because we have advanced a little. We've covered some ground. From the moment we woke up, we got out of bed, we said the blessings, We washed Nagavasa, we said all the blessings, we learned a little Torah, we said the sacrifices, we put on the talis, we put on the tefillin. No, there's more of a preparation. So the neshama is beginning to flex its muscle a little. So now, yes, I begin. This is the foundation. This is the cornerstone, Hodu. But now the Hodu has a few more details. Hodu. Hodu means I'm giving myself over to Hashem. Even though I don't fully understand and I don't fully appreciate and I don't fully comprehend, but I'm dedicating myself to Hashem. I'm yours. Hodu. I acknowledge I'm yours, I'm connected. And that's why the Talmud says you're not allowed to eat before you daven. Because as long as your neshama is in your nose, meaning your neshama hasn't yet permeated your consciousness and your mind and your heart, you're not yet on the same page, you haven't reached this level of total egolessness, and the body, the ego is very prominent, then the act of eating just becomes a coarse act, disconnected act. Just like I serve Hashem, I learn Torah, I do mitzvot, I pray, I do tzedakah. I serve Hashem when I eat. My table is like an altar. The act of eating, I make a blessing before, I'm elevating, I'm offering a sacrifice to Hashem. I'm not just eating because I'm craving. I'm eating to elevate. I'm here to bring something to the table. I'm here to add something. All my activities are here, part of my servicing Hashem. I am here. As a Jew, I am here to illuminate that experience, to elevate that experience, to transform that experience. Not just eating because I'm hungry and I need to eat. It's a bodily need. It's a scientific fact, a rule that I have to eat. It has to be an elevated. I have to bring an elevation, but you can't bring an elevation if you yourself, if your neshama is only in your nose, and you still are not in tune with your neshama, then you cannot elevate that eating. That's why it says don't eat. You're not allowed to eat. The first thing you have to do, you have to daven. And you have to go through the whole process of daven until your neshama permeates every aspect of your heart and your mind, and your whole being becomes permeated, and you reach a level of egolessness, and you reach a level of connection, conscious connection. You become centered and focused and connected and aligned. Now when you sit down to eat, now you can elevate it. Now you can offer it as a sacrifice to Hashem. Now it becomes an elevating experience, a meaningful experience, and you're fulfilling your purpose. This is also the beginning. We're making the transition from the first part of davening to the second part of davening. So we start the davening with Hodu. Hodu, that's the base, that's the foundation. Hodu, I am dedicating myself to Hashem. I'm devoting myself to Hashem. A deeper meaning in Hodu, Chassidus says, that Hodu comes from the word, I admit. There's an argument, and Hodu means I concede. Imagine you're in a court, and the other side says, I concede. I concede my argument. You have two opposite parties, two different perspectives, opposite perspectives, and the other party concedes. Now, a concession by the other party, your conflicting party, it means that it is a conflicting party. It's not you. You're not on the same page. If you're on the same page, there wouldn't be any conflicting parties. If everyone saw things the same way, there wouldn't be any conflicting parties. Concession means that it's a conflicting party. And I see things differently. I have a different perspective than you. But I concede that your argument is superior. I concede to you that you're right. In other words, it's your opinion. It's not my opinion. Where I'm coming from a whole different place. A whole different world, a whole different perspective. But I can see that your argument is superior. The concession tells me that it's your opinion. I'm conceding to you. I'm bowing down to you. I'm admitting that you are right and I am wrong. If I would be 100% fully convinced, if I would to see things the way you see, there wouldn't be any two parties. There's no concession. Then I've joined your party. I've switched sides. It's not a concession. A concession, by definition, means it's two parties. I'm on the opposite side of you, but nevertheless, I concede that you're right, which makes it so much more meaningful. That's the idea of a concession. You have liberal or conservative, and one side concedes to the other that they're right. So he doesn't change his position. I see things differently than you. I see things from a liberal point of view. You see things from a conservative point of view. But in this argument, I agree, I can see that you're right. Your argument is superior. So what is this argument that we have? Who are we arguing with that we say, Hodu Hashem, concede to Hashem? What are these two perspectives? Opposite perspectives. We're on the opposite sides. And these two perspectives is Hashem's perspective and our perspective on reality. From the inside out, from the outside in. Our perspective of reality is, we feel very comfortable, natural. Our egos feel very natural and comfortable. I exist. That's my assumption. I don't even question that assumption. I exist. My reality is real. What I like, what I want, what I need, what I think. This is reality. This table looks very real to me. It's very solid. I'm very solid. I am, period. It feels natural, it feels comfortable, it feels solid as it gets. I'm more certain of my own reality than anything else. This is the assumption, the underlying assumption of everything that we think and we speak and we do. This ego, I exist. Now, I can also serve Hashem and worship Hashem. I can know, yes, that I exist, but God created me. There's a God who's creating me. There's a boss. Hashem is the big boss. Omnipotent, omniscient, the all-knowing. He runs this world. He creates this world. He runs this world. Everything is divine providence. So yes, I exist, but Hashem also exists. And I have to bend my existence to Hashem's existence, because Hashem is the absolute, is the ultimate, is the Almighty. So that's where we're coming from. That's our point of view. That's our side. Then you have the exact opposite side, Hashem's side. From Hashem's point of view, the only thing that exists is Hashem. We don't really exist. Even as Hashem creates us, we're like in a state of non-being and non-existence. To the sun, there is no light. From the sun's point of view, light doesn't mean anything. Not that there is no light, that it's an illusion. But it doesn't mean anything. All there is the sun. What's light? Light comes from the sun, it's connected to the sun, everything it has is from the sun, it reflects the sun, it's nothing other than the sun. But the light doesn't add anything to the sun. The sun, all that is the sun. The light doesn't even exist. It doesn't mean anything. It's like to the mind, to the brain, in the world of ideas, the sense of touch doesn't exist. Not like there is no sense of touch, it's an illusion, but it doesn't mean anything. There's no reality to it. As a modern physicist tells us, this table is really, there's nothing here really. 99.9% empty. It's just atoms that are swirling so quickly that it gives us the sense of solidity. But the reality is, we're walking on nothing. We are nothing, we're walking on nothing. The whole world is nothing. There is nothing here really. There's nothing. But it appears to be very rigid, solid, firm. But the truth is, nothing could be further than the truth. It's not that the world is in the illusion, but it's not, that's not the reality. The reality is Hashem is real and we don't even exist. That's Hashem's point of view. Our point of view is, no, we're real. We're solid. My life, my needs, my wants, my desires, my happiness, that's real. Hashem, that's something I struggle with. I can't see Hashem, I can't hear Hashem, I can't experience Hashem through my five senses. And yet my whole life is run by Hashem. I have to live my whole life by Hashem. Do His Torah, follow His commandments, do's and don'ts. It's a struggle. So our perspective, our foundation, we are coming from the point of view that we exist. And we have to struggle and work our way to acknowledge there's a God in this world. That's the big breakthrough. We come to the acknowledgement that there's a God and there's a creator and there's almighty and all-powerful and omniscient, and I have to obey Him and I have to listen to Him and He guides my life and He's involved in my life and I have to bend my will to His will. That's religion. That's where we're coming from. It's our point of view. From the bottom up. But from Hashem's point of view, from the top down, it's the exact opposite. All that exists is Hashem. Hashem is. There is nothing else. Hashem is absolute reality. And we don't even really exist. Not only we don't exist, the divine energy with which Hashem creates us is nothing to Hashem. Hashem can barely even find it within Himself, the ability to create. It means nothing. It's so insignificant. So it's absolute, complete egolessness, nothingness. And yet we come from a point of view that absolute ego, and we're working our way, trying to find our way to Hashem, acknowledge Hashem, and bow down and worship Hashem. So we have an argument. This is the argument. Not liberal and conservative, but from the top down and from the bottom up. In the language of Hasidus, it's called Das Tachten and Das Elyon. There's two different awareness, two different perspectives. So we start out the davening and we say, Hodu. We concede. We don't understand it, we can't understand it, Therefore, it's called a concession. It's not my understanding. If we were to experience reality the way Hashem experiences reality, we would be completely egoless. We wouldn't even sense ourselves. We would be completely unself-conscious, unself-aware. But we don't. We can't. We have a brain. We have a mind. We're boxed. We're limited. We're confined. We're tiny. We don't have the capacity to see reality from the inside out, to see the truth of reality. Our whole mind is programmed to see and to sense that I exist. The mind, by definition, is I understand. So even a mind that seeks the truth and searches for the truth, but there's an I that seeks, there's an I that searches, there's an I that is trying to understand reality, and understand the truth. So the whole premise is that there's an I, there's an ego. There's a separation, there's something separate from Hashem that's trying to work its way and trying to understand Hashem. So we have these two opposite perspectives, and the twain shall not meet, but that's where, we start the davening. Davening is a connection. We want to connect with Hashem. How do we connect with Hashem? So the connection begins, the opening word is Hodu. We concede. We don't understand it, but we concede. We know that this is the truth. That Hashem's perspective is superior. Hashem's perspective is the true perspective. So Hodu l'Hashem. Hodu, we concede. Hashem is right. And that we could do. We can't understand it. We can't truly experience it. But we could concede. We could admit. And we are grateful to Hashem for giving us the ability. At the end of Moedim, in the Shemona Esrei, when the Chazaras HaShatz, when we say Moedim, we say, and the ultimate thank you is, the ultimate thank you is for giving us the ability to admit, to giving us the ability to concede, for at least giving us the ability. A Yiddish neshama, Jewish neshama, has the ability to concede and to acknowledge that truth. And we're grateful to Hashem for that ability that He gave us. That even though from a human finite perspective it's almost impossible. How could a human being understand and acknowledge that I don't exist? There is no ego, there is no I. All there is Hashem. Hashem is the absolute reality. There's nothing besides Hashem. It's so counterintuitive. It's so contrary to everything that I see and everything that I hear and everything that I feel and experience 24/7. So we thank Hashem for giving us that ability, for Hodu, for having this entrance, this entree into holiness. This is what makes us a holy people. This is why we're holy. This is what the beginning of davening is, to connect with Hashem, to reach a level of egolessness. But in the beginning, we can't truly experience. In the beginning, all we can start with, and this is the minimum requirement to enter into holiness, is Moedani. Here we can say it with a little more details, Hodu l'Hashem. And that's why he says Hodu l'Hashem. You start out with Hashem. Hashem is the name that represents Yudke, Vavke, past, present, future. Hashem who transcends this world, transcends time and space. Past, present, future is all one. Hashem transcends the frame of reference of this world. Hashem is infinite and undefined. And that's from Hashem's perspective. From that point of view, we don't even exist. We truly don't even exist. We're nothing. So Hodu l'Hashem. Then the next level is Kiru Vishmai, proclaim His name. His name represents the level where Hashem permeates the world. Hashem's name, like the king, His name is projected over His kingdom. It's like a name is something external to the person. A name is something superficial to the person. So Hashem's name, this is the divine energy that's enclosed in the world with which Hashem creates. Everything has its own specific name and everything is given its own unique energy. This is the divine energy that's enclosed in this world. So here, this is something that we could already comprehend. This is something that we could comprehend, we could understand. And we say, Kiru B'Shmai, proclaim His name. That you can communicate, that you can proclaim, that you can understand, that you can teach. And not only Jews, make His deeds known amongst the nations. Now the reason we start with this prayer, what's the history of this prayer? This is actually taken from Chronicles, beginning of Chronicles, Chronicles 1. It's also found in Tehillim. In Tehillim, Psalm 105, the first half until Al Tigu B'Mshichoi, V'Nvi Al Tereu. We find the same thing in the Psalms, Psalm 105, and then the next half from Shir El Hashem till Kivolish Beitas Haaretz. We say it in after L'Chadoidi, in Psalm 96, second Psalm after L'Chadoidi, Kabbalah Shabbos, Psalm 96. And then the next verse, Hodu Hashem and Imre Shienu, that's the beginning and the conclusion of Psalm 106. So what's the story behind these words of King David, David HaMelech? David HaMelech, this is the song that they sang, that he handed over to Asaph, who's one of the choir masters, to sing when they brought the ark. When they brought the ark and they placed it in the special tent that David HaMelech built in Jerusalem, Yerushalayim. The story with the ark was taken into captivity. When the Philistines attacked Shiloh, and that's when they destroyed Shiloh. Shiloh was destroyed after existing for 369 years. It was taken into captivity. And that's when Eli, when he heard, he passed away. Shaul went running and told him the news, and he just collapsed and he died. He was like 98 years old. And Shiloh was destroyed then, and the ark, the holy ark, was captured by the Philistines. But it wasn't good for them. It was a disaster for them, because tragedies started happening. When they kept the ark, calamities, and the Philistines were made up of 5 different nations. So they took turns, they sent the ark to different nations. All of them had tremendous calamities, collapse and deaths and plagues. And so he said, okay, we better send the ark back to the Jews. This is not good for us. So they built a new wagon, and they took 2 oxen who never carried any yoke, and they put the ark on this wagon, loaded it with many gifts. And then they decided they're going to send the oxen on their own, see which way they go. If they go to Beit Shemesh, that was like the first town where the Jews lived, near Gaza, near the Philistines, then you know that this is from Hashem, that this is where the ark has to go, and they were punished because they dared to take the ark of Hashem. If not, then they'll know it was just a coincidence. So it says, Vatasharna, the oxen went straight to Beit Shemesh. In the first Jewish house they met, Yeshua, they stopped, and the Jews saw the ark and all the gifts, and they removed the ark, and they took the wagon and turned it into wood and made it, and took the oxen and offered them as offerings, and it was there. It was there for a while. Then it was elsewhere, but eventually, when King David captured Jerusalem and he made it the capital of Israel, the tabernacle was in Givon then. But nevertheless, he did not return the ark. The ark was never returned back to the tabernacle in Noiv and Givon, but he took it to Jerusalem and he made a special tent, and that's where he kept the ark. So when they returned the ark, they sang this song. This is the song that King David composed, and he handed over to Asaph to sing this song, Hodu Hashem Kidru Shmoi, all the way till the Hallel Hashem. The next page, 28, the 3rd line. And then he enacted that every day they should sing this with the sacrifices. Some say the sacrifices, the daily sacrifices that was offered in the Mishkan, the tabernacle. The morning daily sacrifice and the concluding, the afternoon daily sacrifice. And they divided this into 2 parts. The first part was sung in the morning, till V'Nvi Al Tereu, in the middle of this page, 27. And then, from Shirul Hashem Kol Haaretz till V'Amar Kol V'Halal Hashem, that was sung in the afternoon, in the evening. Others say that actually they would sing it in front of the ark every day. And the Medrash says, when it says Vatasharna, the literal meaning means that the oxen went straight. They were testing to see if the oxen are going to go on their own to the Jewish people. So they went straight to Beit Shemesh. The rabbis say, the Chazal say, Vatasharna means they sang. Once they put the ark on the wagon, the oxen started singing. Miraculously, they sang. And this is the song that they sang. And that's why we start the prayer with this song. This was the daily song, and that's why we start the prayer with this song. But of course, we're going to have to go into understand. Only Hasidus explains what's the significance of it, what does it mean. They say oxen sang, Beit Shemesh, why this song. But First, let's just learn the simple meaning, and then next week we'll get a little into the Chassidus, a little more in depth, what this all means and why this is the opening prayer. And that explains why, according to the Sephardic, our custom, the Hasidic custom, we say this before Baruch Shamar. The Ashkenazim include the Hodu in Baruch Shamar. Why not? They want to include, everything should be included in Baruch Shamar. A blessing before, a blessing after, right? But we say this before Baruch Shamar because it's connected with the daily sacrifice. So we want to juxtapose it, connect it, since we just read about the sacrifices from the Torah and then from the Mishnah, Vayidaber Hashem, the daily sacrifices, and then Ezeu Mekayman. So therefore, Hodu is a continuation. This is the song that they sang before the sacrifices. That's why we say this before the Baruch Shamar.